Okay, now I'm ready to get started on the medallion and the monogram that goes on top of the jewelry box. And what I did is I printed out 3 Ks with an oval around them, and I did this in Illustrator, but I'm sure you have any kind of program that has any drawing capabilities will work. And I also put registration marks up here so that I can line it up, because I'm going to have to put this down, peel it off, put it back, and so I've got 3 different times I'm going to be using this. And I have already cut a piece of maple. This is about a 1/16 inch thick, maybe a little bit thicker, and I want to do all the stippling before I cut the oval out. I found that works out a lot better. So the first thing I want to do is, after I've got those cut out, is align it anywhere like so. And I'm just going to take a push pin and go right through that registration mark, and that'll give me a hole where I can line this up the other 2 times that I need to attach the paper, like so. Normally when I'm making templates like this, I just use 2-sided carpet tape to hold the template down, and lets me cut it out on the scroll saw or band saw. But in this case, I did a test with the 2-sided tape, and as I was doing the stippling, it was just pushing the tape into the little holes, and it was really difficult to get it all out. So that's why this time I'm just going to tape down the edges like so, and then I can remove the pins and get started on the stippling. To achieve that stippling effect, I tried a lot of different tools, and a nail set seems to work out really well. So first I'm going to outline the K, and then I'll peel off the paper. So what you do is you just tap right one little circle next to another, and don't be afraid to hit it too hard. The trick here is to just try to tap it, keep the circles so that they're just touching each other, and try to get it as close to the outline as you can. And it looks like I'm getting down almost to where I started, and there we have it. Now I've got the K all outlined, and I'll be able to remove the paper, and now I've got all set up. So now all I got to do is finish stippling it all out here, and the K will be raised. One of the things I learned from doing my test piece was to avoid doing these in lines, doing a row and another row and another row. It tends to have a better look if you kind of mix it up a little bit and fill in the gaps. So it's a very time-consuming process, but you can kind of get into the whole zen of pounding. And with that, I've stippled enough all the way around here that it should fit right within the oval. So now I'll just poke the pin back through the registration mark and stick it in the hole that's already there. And I'll grab the other pin and attach it on that side. So now I'll be able to tape this down and cut it out. Well, I guess I didn't really need the third letter, but you know, it's always a good idea to print out an extra one in case you mess something up. So I'll just tape this down, and I can remove the pins, and I'll be able to cut that out right along the oval. So I'm going to cut out the oval on my scroll saw, and maybe that doesn't look like a scroll saw to you, but it is. This is sort of an antique scroll saw, but the nice thing about buying tools is that even if you get ones that are very, very old, they still perform the same function. Now what I've done with this scroll saw is I hooked a motor up to it, and I can switch out the belt to provide different speeds, and I just made up a little jig down here to hold it, and I just kind of clamp everything down and attach the blade, and then over here I just hooked it all into a power strip, and when I run it, the blade will turn, the belt will run, and it does a great job. Now I've got the template taped down, and I can run it through the scroll saw. There I have the rough cutout of the medallion. And I'll just smooth out those edges a little bit with a power sander. I'm just using 220 grit just to smooth it out and just to make that curve a little bit nicer. I'm going to take some 220 grit sandpaper and just lightly sand down those stipples, because I noticed that as I punched them in, they left little fibers of the wood coming through, and so I'm just going to knock those down. To apply the gold on the letter itself, I masked off all of the outlying areas, and I at a craft store a couple years ago I picked up this gold colored paste. I'm not really sure what you call it, but it's sort of a paint, and it comes out like that, and you can apply it right on the wood, and it'll dry, and then I can seal it, and it gives a nice gold look to it, and I'll spray some sealer on here after it's dry.